Hi there, it's Joycelyn Wells with myshape.solutions. And a couple of weeks ago, we started doing spotlight interviews, and we take small business owners and authors and give them some time to talk about who they are and why they are, and just to look at their dreams and their plans for tomorrow, and just chat a little bit. So today I have Tiffany Mitchell. She is a new author and the author of She's Unmoved. Hi, Tiffany. Welcome.
Hello. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you more.
So let's see. I'm going to start with, since I promised not to Wendy Williams you.
Yes, but there's one thing you got to do the shoe cam, Wendy Williams. So Wendy Williams, you do the shoe cam.
Let me see. I got to do the shoe. Oh, that's hot. Look, let me see. What size is that? About an 8.5? Let me get that. That is a beautiful shoe. Thank you so much for sharing. And it just kind of brings me to, it's just so much fun to have something to get dressed for in the middle of a pandemic, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Definitely. Working from home, I don't get to get out, so.
Yeah. So welcome. Thank you. Okay, so one word that you would use to describe Tiffany. One word. Strong. Love it.
Strong.
Love it. So why is strong your word?
I would say strong because I've just been through so much. Even like on a daily basis, it's always a fight. In life, it's always a fight. And I just feel like I didn't let any of it break me. And I won't allow any obstacles to break me. So I just feel like I'm strong because I get hit, knocked out, get back up, keep going. It just makes me stronger. I know which way to go next time. I know which way the left hook gonna come, right hook. Oh, I know which one you're gonna throw with me.
Right. I totally understand that. I always say that I would rather take a hit than for somebody to berate me with words. So when to use that analogy, like taking a hit, that's kind of the thing that you can get past. Like, hit me if you want to. I can keep going. It doesn't break me. Yeah. So good. So why did you decide? Her book is She's Unmoved, and there's a beautiful cover on there. Yeah. I'm looking at the behind you, and there's her book, She's Unmoved. And it's how I made it through tough times and became the woman I am today. And I loved it. It's almost like, well, let me say this first. What made you start writing before I get into that?
I started writing as a therapy to cope with a lot of things that I was going through. And before, like, I was married, so I kind of had my husband to kind of spring stuff off of. But then when I got divorced, it was kind of like, well, who am I really going to talk to? So it got to the point where it was like, okay, write, Tiffany, to write. Mm-hmm. So I wrote, and that's it. This was,
I think that a lot of times people don't understand that writing your words down releases them into the universe. It's like it gets it out of here. Mm-hmm. And sets them free instead of having them just circle around. Yeah. That's definitely a reason that I write. Like, it just frees the words from me.
Definitely.
When you were married and springing stuff off of your husband, do you feel like what you were getting in response to those conversations were in line with the woman that you wanted to be, with the decisions you need to make?
No. A lot of times too, you got to think, like, when you're in a relationship with someone, whether it's marriage, whether it's just a friendship, sister or brother, a lot of times because of the love that those people have for you, they at the same time kind of don't want to hurt you. Maybe they might not understand everything that you're going through. So they might not always give you the real of how they feel or their perspective about something, because it's not going to always be genuine, because it's always going to be in response to trying to protect you in some sort of way. Okay. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Trying to protect you, or also trying to align your actions with what they want from you.
Exactly.
That's my experience. Right? That people will tell you what they want, that's going to put them in line for them. Like, that's a good question.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's funny you just said that. I want to say this morning, randomly, I got a message from a family member, and it was in regards to, hey, like they had questions about the book. And one of the sentences in response was, hey, it's from your perspective. Mm. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, of course it's from my perspective. It's my story.
It's mine, right?
They're like, when you're telling your story, there is no other side.
That's right.
There's no, it's this person's side, it's your side, then there's the truth. No, there's only the truth, because it's your story. It's your truth. Right. This is my truth.
Right. And that, I mean, that happens a lot, and we don't understand. And as a writer and published, it takes on a whole different meaning to I've been journaling, because now you have people interpreting, trying to figure out if this is about them, what their side is, what you should have included. And you're like, this is about me. This ain't about you. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a tricky space to exist. But it gets easier after a while, because you get tougher. Tell your story the way you want to. You want to write a book, but I'm not rewriting my book to satisfy your idea of what I should have, right? So that's tough. So when you wrote your stories and you're talking, did you consider what others would think while you were writing?
I did. To be honest, it was the hardest thing for me to do in life, was to actually put this book out, because that's all I can honestly really think about. And that's why it was so therapeutic, because it was like I finally was releasing things that I was afraid to release, all in perspective of hurting someone else. But then it's like, okay, you're hurting someone else, but you're hurting yourself at the same time by trying to protect someone else. And that's all you've been doing. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, I had to, in order to release me, in order for me to move on. Yeah. And it was like, my truth might scare you, but it's my truth. And it only scares you because it's threatening your truth being unfolded. Right. And that's the scariest thing for someone to do, is to actually reveal yourself, even to yourself. That was the hardest thing for me, to actually write these things and actually see it written down on paper. There were many times of tears. Yeah. I didn't type it up. I had to write it down. Yeah. I needed to write it down. There was tears, some ink, starting to, when the paper get wet, it started to dribble down. It was like I had to release these things. It was things that I didn't even know was a concern for me at some point. And honestly, it was just a collection of, and because I don't know, it just wound up being, these were actually collections of, hey, just a day here, a day just going in, just writing my feelings. And it happened to unveil to be a story of my life.
Right. I think that the hardest thing for me, I'll speak from my perspective on this. The hardest thing for me was telling myself the truth about the crap that I was in. I could draw a beautiful picture about it, and I'd be dying on the inside, even though it looked amazing. And so when I had to just tell myself the truth about, many things, my marriage, the kind of mother I was, when I had to tell myself the truth, that helped me get closer to what God saw when he chose me. Amen. Yeah. So it takes away the man value and places the spiritual value. And people don't understand that. Once you realize the spiritual value, man don't even matter anymore. You're like, oh, your feelings are hurt? Go to God.
That part. Because you're freeing somebody else. I was thinking, I'm not only freeing myself, there's so many other people. And that's why I was just even with the book coming out, I've gotten a lot of, backlash, especially, of course, from family, which was expected. And that was was the scariest thing for me to even put it out. I knew that was going to happen. But at the same time, it's like, okay, me actually putting my truth out there is helping someone else, because there are people that are afraid to come forth with things. Like, for instance, a big thing, molestation, Like there's a lot of people who get molested by close family members or close friends in the family, and they're afraid to come forth because of the backlash, and they're holding these things in. And you don't understand why a person is walking around angry, or why this young woman just constantly sleeping around with a bunch of men, or why people exactly, or why people are afraid to come to God, even because they hold all these things on top of them, and you hold the guilt to yourself as if you did something wrong. Right. And it also leads to things such as anxiety and depression, even messes up your marriage, where you can't even be open with your husband or your wife fully because of all these insecurities and things that you're holding in. And it's like, it needed to be told. And there's so many people that came forth and was like, thank you, because it's helped me, and tell me the stories of things that they dealt with and were afraid to say anything about. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. And the thing is, what I figured out is that it's not the first or second line of people around you. So it's not family, friends. It's the millions outside of that you will help get to freedom. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know you have a problem with it because you can't accept the truth of it. Yeah. But that's insignificant when I think of moving a nation or freeing a million people.
Yeah.
Right. And it's selfish for you to ask me not to satisfy you when I'm trying to satisfy God, right?
Amen.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. And I don't think people understand what that means to say that to you, like, well, you shouldn't really be writing about that. God gave me permission. And I appreciate you sharing that, because I know that there are a lot of people who don't understand that because you're holding yourself hostage doesn't mean I'm going to be a hostage too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so freeing. Like it's so freeing. And it was what I needed to do. I needed to get with God and figure out what I needed to do in order to be free from the things that I've dealt with. And write the vision, make it plain, said those who read it may be able to run with it, and it's just like, this is what he wants me to do, regardless of what anyone's opinion about or anything, because if it's what he wants, then it's going to turn out good. Even if you don't understand it, just, all right, Lord, whatever you want.
Whatever you want. That's one of my favorite stories to talk about is God's relationship with Noah. Like, he talked to Noah for years, and Noah didn't talk back until he asked him a question. And Noah was like, well, what's an ark? Noah's like, well, okay, I'll build it, but what is it? So I think that we don't understand the significance of that relationship with God, of our relationship, and being open and available to him. And a lot of things you talk about in your book aren't choices that you made. They were choices made for you. Yeah. And you're expected to just deal with it. And that's not fair at all. Yeah. So I absolutely love your boldness and candidness. Do you have something you'd like to read with us? Or if not, I have something I want to.
Please do. Please. I would love to.
Okay. So I had a couple things that I was looking at. One thing that I love is that you expressed your anger with your dad. I don't know if it's men and women, but as a woman, that was a place that I existed. And what you wrote here about your dad, to me was like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm angry. Just to be able to say I'm angry is a lot. So this is one of the stories out of Tiffany Mitchell's She's Unmoved, and I'll read some of it, and then you get the book to get the rest of it. Daddy, I was angry with you. At times, I still feel like I am. I ask God to remove this pain, remove these memories that haunt me. Life isn't the same. I opened up to you, Daddy, when I was alone and afraid. I trusted that you would protect me. Remember the night we lost Jamie? Remember you rushed to the hospital to be by his side? You left us with a neighbor, a wolf in disguise. I was paralyzed with fear as a grown man woke me up out of my sleep. He was groping me in places no one should have touched. I thought to myself, not again. And that's all I'm going to share from that piece. And I love that you clearly were young, because it doesn't give an indication of age, but you know that you were under the care of your parents. And you were able to, you're here saying, I was angry with you because you could see that if somebody was going to be blamed for this, that's where the blame was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you share a little bit about that? Just talk a little bit about it, about your relationship with your dad now.
Well, my dad, he passed away when I was young.
Okay.
Which I speak about that in there as well in my book.
Yep, sure is.
That event. But how can I say it? It was hard coming forth. Like, it even affects, like, you know, relationship with men now. Like, you can't fully trust someone, and it's almost like, it's almost in the, because, you know, spiritually I have my father.
Yeah.
But it's almost like in the natural, you almost tend to almost sort of kind of look for a father figure in that aspect, not purposely, but subconsciously, if that makes sense. And it almost kind of leads you to dealing with even the wrong type of men, because it's like you're looking for things that your father was supposed to be able to instill in you.
The familiar, like this is what my father would have done, or he would have said, or how he would have smelled, or how he would have looked, or
or, you know, this is how a man is supposed to be, and this is how a man is supposed to treat a woman, and you know, and he, you know, so I naturally look for someone too. At the same time, do I feel safe? Do I feel protected? Like, you know, because that's something I for my entire life I never felt. And that was even an issue in my marriage. I was almost kind of pushing off on him, even though he was my husband. In a way, I was kind of almost making him my father.
Right.
And that's not a relationship.
That's not, you know, the fact that you say that, so look, this is so me, right? Because I'm 51. So much older, I'm 51. And for the first time in my life, I'm in a healthy relationship. So I'm 51 and I feel safe with somebody. That's crazy.
I know.
And I was married for 17 years, and so they were always men, but for the first time to feel safe, like somebody's going to protect me, and I don't have to fight against them.
You can be yourself, vulnerable.
And it took years. So it's real what you're saying, and it's real, because I think the first year that he and I dated, I broke up with him like every month. I would be like, I'm not doing this.
I'm not dealing with this.
And it wasn't even anything nothing that happened. I was just scared. Like, what is this? Because if you're still here, you're going to try to take advantage of me. You're going to try to misuse me. There's going to be something. And and I'm 51. So it's out there, but it's work. It takes.
I don't know. Hopefully one day for me, because
and you have to keep growing. You have to keep growing and keep doing and being who God sees for you, because that's the only thing that I figure when I stopped choosing for myself. When I stopped choosing for myself, it was better. Like, I just was like, you know what? To hell with it. I'm chilling. I'm going to travel. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. F it. Like, I just really got to that place, and not bitter. It was just like, I'm choosing a bunch of crap. Like, I don't know what I need. I don't know what I want. I can just articulate the man who will love me as God loves me. That's it. He will love me as God loves me.
Yeah.
And a lot of men will write themselves out simply by, what does that mean?
Like,
So I totally understand that. And we do have a lot of insecurities because of the way we've been treated.
So my issue is like trust. That's the biggest thing. I've like just bring me somebody I could feel like I can trust, I could be open with, you know. You know, all that. And plus I'm a writer, so I like to communicate. I need somebody that knows how to communicate, that likes to communicate. Like, that's a big thing. Nothing irks me more than not being able to
have a conversation. Read this. What do you think about it? Oh, you don't read? Okay, bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
So I think that's so profound. And a lot of, as women, we deal with a lot of that. Many of us just get lost in what we believe our dad is supposed to be, or we get lost in that and we start choosing it in men. We're like, and it's no fault of theirs that they're not, you know, and when we own responsibility for that, we're choosing this, then it makes it a whole lot better too.
Yep.
Yeah,
definitely. So it's like it either goes two ways. It's either you look for someone to kind of be that father figure at the same time, or you find someone that you're being that nurturer too. So almost like that, man-child syndrome. Like, you know, you're grabbing someone that you're just like trying to pour and, you know, nurture and make into this person and bring them up and, you know, give them everything that you just want, and you expecting that eventually in return they'll
be able to give it back. And it doesn't happen.
Doesn't.
It doesn't happen. I think I've kind of, I've gone through that too, but I think that I think that the men who come for us to love us are the men who pour into us, not that we pour into.
Yeah.
They pour into us so that we can pour into others.
Yeah. That's
we're not.
Yeah.
So we're not raising. I'm not raising you to. Because you'll never. I don't think. Once you establish that maternal role with the guy, he never becomes the man that's capable of you. Never.
He always expects that of you.
Yeah. And he'll never be capable of you. He'll never be able to provide a space for you to be safe in, because you've already providing the space for him to be safe.
For him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you have a son, right?
Yes.
Look at that smile. How old is he?
He's 6.
He's 6. Okay. I always say when I was dating, I would tell men, if I'm having the conversation with you that I have with my son, then you're not the man for me. Yeah.
Ooh.
Right. So you think about the things that you try to talk your son into doing, taking his first flight or jumping off a high beam, or you think about this. And if you're talking to a man, encouraging those, you're like, I already had this conversation with my son. Like,
yeah.
That's kind of scary, because when you think about it, you're like, oh my God. Like, I do say that to my son.
Yeah.
And my son is 17 now, and he's watching to graduate high school. And that helped me a lot in dealing with people, is just watching him turn into a man. It's like, wow. And so you told me on the phone a couple of weeks ago that you had a kind of a creative venture happening with your son. You want to share it with us?
Yes. So he actually wants to write a book. So I'm like so excited. So I'm like, okay, well, let's start. So I got him a little, notepad, and he's giving me his ideas and different things. And I'm just like, so I'm excited. So by the time he is 7, he will be an author. And I'm getting him his LLC. So that's something else that we're doing together. So, we're thinking of different ideas and different things that he wants to do that's going to branch off from his book. So he's excited. I'm excited. He's super creative and just like, always needs somewhere to put his energy. So I was like, this would be pretty good for him. And I just think it's important to you know, kind of nurture and establish your kids' creativity, you know, from a young age, and also
Mm-hmm.
help get them established, like even with setting up a business and things like that now, like with him being 7 with the LLC, you know,
Right.
different things that you want to do. So I'm pretty excited. I wish I had, you know, someone there for me like
But
this when I
you
was his,
have it.
you know.
And
So.
now you have it for him, and it changes generations to come, right? So we have to own that too. Like, well, I didn't have anybody for me, but I have it for my kid. And, you know, so you grow from there, and you're going to, you know, protect him and keep him safe. And I think that your stories and the mother that you are and writing with your son will be tremendous for other young men who are missing that nurturing piece of the mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that will be tremendous, because one of the things when I talk to young men is that you realize they don't have a lot of women who are kind to them without trying to take something from them or to get them to do something, you know, and that's sad, because we can see it in the men. Yeah, we see it in the men. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I want my son to, like, you know, his dad is great too. So it's kind of like, you know, we encourage him to show his emotions, and we express our love to him like constantly. Like, he's a child that knows he's loved. Like, you know, I love you, and kisses, hugs, you know, all day. So, and that's the kind of thing like that's missing, where it's like especially in the Black community, men aren't able to express their emotions or their feelings. So they hold a lot of things in. It's not okay for a man to cry, or, you know, and different things like that. So, or to be upset if they get cheated on, or a woman hurts them, or, you know, and that's not true. You're supposed to be able to express these things. And then we wonder why a lot of Black men are so angry, or why they lash out or do different things. A lot of times we create our own monsters within
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
we create our own monsters and don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a man tries to express stuff, stop acting like that, stop crying. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
crying like a little bee. Like a little,
you know, let him talk. I honestly, I desire a man that wants to be open and communicate and talk to me about his secrets and his emotions. And I want him to feel safe with me, you know, and I want to, you know, be there to comfort him and let him know it's okay. Like, this is your safety. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it should always be that way, because they don't have it when they go outside.
They don't.
So it's like, and I guess that's too, like, that's why I can't be with a person that doesn't like to communicate, because I don't like that always, like, I need to know what's going on with the person up here that I'm dealing with. So, because when I was younger, because of things I've dealt with, I've always been a closed-in person, never expressed everything that I was going through, and I seen what it could do. Right. And it's like, so I encourage people around me to, you know, be that way, because I'm naturally like that now.
You're like, it's safe. You're safe. You can do what you want to do. You're safe.
Exactly.
You're safe. I mean, even to have those words, you're safe. You know how many people don't feel safe? Like, you're safe here with me. We'll thug it out right here. We good. It's fine. And we ain't got to talk about it anymore. Mm-hmm. And people don't have that.
But let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. People don't have it. And then and that's really weird too, because sometimes people will come and dump their crap on you because you are a safe place. But you're like, you don't get to dump on me without healing. Like, it's a process. It's a talk about it and heal from it. You don't get to keep dumping crap on me and keep doing BS, right? So it's a healing associated with this. And that's what we want to have. That's the relationship. Like, trust that we're okay in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my son is, with him being 17 now, he is, and men do turn into men. I mean, they're men, like, Jesus. So he went from being kind of very expressive to just a reserve, just a strong man. He just internal processing. And I always say the funny thing is he's about he's almost 6 feet tall. And I always say when I'm in his presence, I feel like there's a man there. You know, I like, he'll say something and I'll be like, okay. So it's really weird, because I'm used to, you know, my little like talking about it. And then he'll just be decisive and make a decision. And I'm like, okay, it's a man, so I think it's so funny just watching that growth and knowing. He said to me recently that I'm the place that he can go to be safe with what he has to say.
Aww.
I know. Because I told him, I said, you don't talk to your dad the way you talk to me. And he told me, he's like, but my words are safe with you. Like I don't have to be defensive, or you're not going to come out of pocket, and I was like, yay, which is true because I'm a free spirit. So anything they have going on, I'm like, hey, what are we going to do next? But for him to be able to articulate that says it's important to him. And I do appreciate that. Yeah. So they do grow up, girl. They're so much fun. So what about you? What are you writing next?
Well, I have 2 different projects that I'm working on right now. So I don't know which one I want to release yet. I'm excited about both. Okay. I was talking to my sister about one of them, and she was like, cracking up. So it's a little funny. But one is about kind of like, some of it is based on a past relationship that I've dealt with, but then some of it is also different bits and pieces from other people's stories and things that they've dealt with. And I'm bringing it all into one character, into one story, if that makes sense. So, but it's all real life things that people have gone through in a relationship, but it's all going to be based off one female walking through. And a lot of it is based off of her dealing in a relationship with a man that's a narcissist. And a lot of people don't recognize narcissists in their life in what their characteristics are until it's too late and you're already deep inside of that. And then you start to realize and see yourself begin to change. And one of the clear signs to notice if somebody that you're close to is in a relationship like that is, for instance, you could see a female being one way and you always know her this one way. Then within a short period of time, all of a sudden, she no longer communicates a lot with the same people she used to talk to every day. You don't see her anymore. She starts dressing different, acting different. She's angry. She's this way. She's losing things, and then you try to figure out what's going on. It's the narcissist.
They're out there, aren't they out there? I feel like they are. They must grow them. They are out there. And it's like,
yes. But the thing is, they don't realize that they're narcissists. And I think that's probably what the scariest part about it is, because they don't realize it, they don't realize where the error is or what the fault is. So when you can't fix it if you don't think there's anything to be fixed. They think everyone else around them is the problem.
It feeds them. That's their fuel to keep them going.
Exactly.
It's their fuel.
So I'm excited about it.
When you're a loving woman and you get caught up with a narcissist who's unaware that they're a narcissist, you try to fix them. And
yes. That's the cycle for me.
Like, well, what? And I'm like, I remember having a conversation with somebody and I was like, well, not to be mean, but what training do you have for this? Like, are you like a therapist? Are you like what gift do you think God gave you to fix the whole person that he chose?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, well, he needs this. And if somebody would have, and I'm like, how's that your responsibility? Because you're doing this and you're getting beaten the hell up every day.
They're fixing somebody and breaking somebody else at the same time.
Oh my God. It's crazy. But hey, been there, done that. Got a t-shirt and a divorce decree.
Okay, the ex-husband wasn't the narcissist. I'll say that. The ex-husband wasn't the narcissist. But
so that sounds like
he wasn't the narcissist.
It's gonna be that sounds like a great story. So that's going to be just an amazing project. So good for you. Good luck with that one. So you're trying to battle which one's going to come out first? Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. I am. And I'm excited about both. I really am. So, and it's, like even with Zion's book too, like his is very different. Like our styles are different, which is something I really love. Like, you know, it's different. Like even my style of writing is different. Like when you open the book, you start to read, you're like, oh, that's different. I didn't think it would be laid out this way. Right. So like even Zion's book that's coming out is going to be different, and people aren't going to expect even the layout of his book. Like, but I'm excited because it's him. It's more so him. It's not something that most kids his age where it's the parents who are actually doing it. And then you're just putting a stamp of their, you know, the kid's name. No, this is actually him. Right. He got so excited about it, made me take him to the store so he can get his little pads, so he could draw his little illustrations. And he, you know, I'm ready for my book. And, you know, he just got his thing laid out. So
he's doing his own illustrations too. He's illustrating him. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm excited. I am excited. I'm excited. He's excited. I'm excited. So
a child having their own book in their school's library, like, can you imagine the impact that has on his presence? Like, wow.
I'm excited. And that's like, people don't even understand, like, even like being an author and different things like that. Like, when you're gone, this is still here.
Is it? Oh my God! The Library of Congress pays people to protect it. Like it is a part of the world. The United States holds it sacred. When you have published and you have your copyright and you have because everybody isn't chosen, and that's the thing. And people will tell you, "Oh, I should write a book about my life," and you tell them, "Write it."
Yeah,
write it, and then nothing. Everybody isn't chosen, so I think that's a big.
Everybody has a story to tell. You know, I feel like everybody has a story to tell, but everyone's not going to tell it because it's not everyone's assignment. Like you said, it's not.
That's it right there. That's it. Yeah. So I love that you joined me on Super Bowl Saturday, and I was in my mind, I saw us sitting outside in Centennial Park in Ybor City. The sun was shining and we're talking, and then I was like, oh my God, it's supposed to rain. And then I was like, oh, it is Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's crazy out here in Tampa, Florida right now. I mean, on last night, it was just like streams of just cars riding down the blocks, like, you know, like it's a parade or something with a Buccaneers going, Buccaneer, Buccaneer, Buccaneer. Like, just going the red lights and all that. And I'm just like, you know, and I sit up, look out the window.
You're out there. That's crazy. Like, I'm so excited, but I was like, I'm not going into Tampa at all this week. And
I'm not leaving the house. I ordered everything in groceries and all that last night. I said, Zion, not today.
We inside. Whatever you see out the window, that's what you're going to get.
So I'm like, because it's crazy out there. I was looking like, you know, all people from back home with the New Yorks and New Jersey tags, they going down the wrong way on the streets. They're going down one way. I said, listen, the cops is all crazy out here. I said, they pulling everybody over. I'm going to stay in the house.
I'm going to stay here. Yep. Yep. That's exactly it. So let's see. What would you tell people to look for with Tiffany? So what do you see for Tiffany?
Oh, that's a good question. To be honest, that is something I've been getting with God about lately. It's almost like he's kind of revising and revamping a few things. I know there's going to be more books coming out. There's been a few, you know, offers coming to me to do different things. Yeah. But I'm trying to see what it is that he wants. There's a whole lot of different things that I want to do right now that I'm excited about. And I'm like, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do that. But it's like, I want to make sure I do what he wants me to do. Right. I don't feel like, you know, I have time to waste as far as like continuing to just keep doing my own thing. So I'm trying to see what it is that he wants me to do next. Right. So whatever direction he leads me to, I'm just excited because you have just had a feeling, you just know like great things are getting ready to happen. Like, you don't know what's getting ready to happen, but he's just like, hey, just buckle up and just go along for this ride. It's going down.
Yeah. I think that and that's, you have such a good handle on that, where I didn't when I started writing, because what I figured out is that people see you and they know that you've done something, and then they have ideas of how they want to make use of you. And it may be in line with what you're supposed to be doing. But you're excited, so you're like, okay, and then you do it. I don't think this is what was supposed to happen.
You got derailed. Yeah.
You know, so
it was a good thing, but not a God thing.
Yeah, it was a good thing, but not a God thing. And I think you saying that says that you understand, because we expect opportunities, these great moments, and then you get caught up someplace and you're like, I could have not done that and been okay, you know, so. But people do see you and want to make use of you. And you're like, yeah, I don't think so. And it takes a lot to know, right?
It does all the time. All the time. And you kind of be, you know, like, oh, that was such a good, or oh, I should have, you know, and it'd be like, no, that wasn't what, no. Sit down.
Yeah. Like now I had someone come to me and they wanted me to do, like, to go live. And they said, I said, well, what do you want me to go live about? And they're like, oh, I want you to talk about just be you. And I'm like, but is there a topic that you want? And they're like, well, just talk about sex. And I said, in what capacity? I'm like, I have a master's in health science. I can talk about the clinical aspects. I can talk about the Kama Sutra. I can talk about, like, what sex? And they're just like, oh, just sex. And then I realized, oh, they don't know. Like they're trying, they want something, but they don't have enough information about even what they want to tell me what they want. And I was just like, yeah, I can't do that, because I can write a dissertation on sex. Like, what do you like? You know, but so I had to make myself kind of back up from people coming with all these things they want me to do, like, because I'm like, this is outside of my wheelhouse. This isn't what he gave me. So you know that it's probably saved you a lot from a lot of crap.
Yeah, and like not listening, you know, that gets you to so much crap. So I'm trying not to get in any more crap. So I'm like, you know, stop ignoring that inner voice. You hear it tell you, don't do this, don't do that. Yes. Listen. It gets louder, and you still keep pushing past it. And then it's like, until you turn the music so loud that you're draining out the warning signals. And that's what gets yourself caught up. So I'm trying, you know, keep the music low and keep the grass cut.
Turn down the noise. Yeah, that was my 2020 resolution, to stop dismissing my first voice. That was my resolution for 2020. And imagine that in the middle of a pandemic. So, you know, it's like everything's stopped and silent, and I'm having to trust my words that I speak on being of God. Now I have to trust it. What I tell people, now I have to live it. And that was my 2020. And it kept me out of a lot of crap, for sure. And it made me chill the hell out. I'm supposed to be late today. It's okay.
That part. And I think too, another thing, another project that he has been working on for me though is how to release people when you need to. That has been like, you know, a battle with me, and I realized the battle with so many other people, and you wind up wasting so many years of your life keeping the wrong people in the wrong types of relationships in your life. Yeah, you know. People need to have certain relationships. A lot of times you're putting them in the wrong box, and it derails you for years in your life. It causes you so much pain and loss. And
I've had people I remember people leaving my life years ago, leaving me, our friendship. And I would be like trying to figure out what I did wrong. And then I go back and get them, you know, like, trying to fix it. But now as I get older, they leave, and it's like, okay, you're supposed you know, you just keep going, because you realize that if you have a reason that you're leaving and I'm being the best I can be, and you're still leaving, ain't got nothing to do with me.
I did everything. I did my part. I'm conscious free. So
and you have to let them go. And that's a hard struggle, but releasing that noise allows for so much other goodness to be sowed, like to plant so many other seeds and to meet other people and to, it's just, you can't even argue with that. Like, just, okay. But it's heartbreaking because you're like, out of all the stuff I did and I loved you and I've been through this with you and
you feel like you wasted so much. You're looking for a return on your investment. And that's the hardest part. That's what's really hard to let go.
Yeah. But it makes us as free, that the things you do or the things that you choose to do, things that you're not, it's not because you're obligated, it's because what you choose. And when you can do them and release them, moving.
It's like, fine, I'm okay. Count it a seed and keep it moving.
Yep.
It'll come back around. That love I gave will come back. That money I gave will come back. Those hugs I gave will come back.
And not even from the same place. And they don't even come back. They don't come from the same place. They come from other places.
Yes.
Other opportunities.
It's going to come back.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that is amazing. And don't you want to just help people get to this place? Like, aren't you just like, girl, I got something good. Let me show you here. Like, and then you're staying with it.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah. That's the heart. I have to tell my daughter that, like, okay, so you can't save somebody who they don't know that they need saving. Like, you can't force them. Even if you see something better for them, it's not your responsibility.
They got to see it for themselves. They have to see it for themselves. They have to want it for themselves. You can't want better for somebody more than they want it for themselves.
Absolutely.
And that's just something you have to realize. Like, and also I had to realize too, like, you're different. And that's something I have to constantly remind myself when I'm looking at other people. They're not the same as me. They don't think the same. They don't, operate. They don't move the same. They haven't been through the same things in life. So I can't expect for them to react a certain way to a situation that I would naturally react to this way. Or I can't expect them to see what I see when I'm looking at the same thing they're looking at all the time.
Yep. That's right.
Because of their mindset, how it is, they might see something totally different, know? So it's something I just have to kind of learn how to accept people for who they are and then place them where they need to be according to in your life.
Yep. That is the best advice right there. You respect people where they are and the choices that they're making and know that it has nothing to do with you. That is the best advice for dealing with people. Adult people who make decisions, respect that's the decision they wanted to make.
Exactly. And a lot of times I tell people too, with the adult thing, if you like stop and think, like, yeah, we're all adults because we're in this grown body, but there are a lot of grown children.
Absolutely, they are.
And we look at the physical and expect for them to mentally be where they physically are. Yep. And I think that's what causes a lot of problems.
Yep.
So I try to give grace, but a lot of times I tend to give a little too much grace. Because I have such a big heart, like I'm one of those people, I have like a very big heart. I love hard and, different things like that. So it's kind of like a lot of times I try to see the good in somebody, but you can't keep the person don't see it in themselves. You can't keep trying to force them.
That's right. That is it right there. You have to allow them to be where they are, and they have to get to. If you can't see the reflection of Christ in you, and I can, and you can't, it's a waste of my time to tell you about it. Like, you got to be able to see the reflection in yourself. That's it right there. Like I hands down, I agree with you in that. And we have a lot of people who are lost, and we know in those situations that it's time to remove ourselves. And that's not my personal mission. That's not my personal mission. And it's not my mission from God, because if God sends me to save you, you're ready to be saved. Like, that's how that works. He's not sending you to convince. He don't want me to convince you to be ready. My actions may show you something different, but if it's my legwork, then you're ready for it. You know, that's exactly how it works for us. So that's just, wow, you are an awesome woman. I've enjoyed talking to you. And that smile, it's the smile for me. Beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. And I hate to always, because I'm older and I talk to people that are younger than me, and I just feel so proud. I still feel so motherly. Like, I'm proud of this woman. Like, if I had what she had at that age, I would have knocked down so many walls in my life. You know, I had to get it when I was older, but I see you and just watch you and just read your words, and to know that you understand that it's important to be free at this age, like right now. That's a big deal. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Being in my life. Like, thank you for allowing me this.
Yeah, thank you for being in mine. You've been a blessing to me, honestly, definitely, for sure.
I will try. I will try to continue to be, but I grow daily because of women who aren't afraid to be free. That is why I grow. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. And thank you for the encouragement. Thank you so much.
So hold up your book one more time, because I'll have to upload this to YouTube now. So She's Unmoved by Tiffany Mitchell is available on Amazon. And she's got some copies in her house. I'm sure she can sign and send. I'll put up the details on how you can get a copy. And we'll keep our eye out for Tiffany and see what she has coming next. And Zion. Yes.
And make sure you guys visit me on Instagram under She's Unmoved, and also my Facebook page, She's Unmoved, or Tiffany Mitchell.
I will definitely put that in the notes on the YouTube and add it to the Facebook Live. So thank you so much. Have an awesome day, and I will see you soon.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.